One might walk past him without realizing it in a small town in Ohio. No security, no luxury lifestyle. But this man has hundreds of millions of dollars in worth. At his peak, he left behind $50 million. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. The Ordinary Man Who Owns Hollywood. He could be walking around the small Ohio town with a smile on his face without you ever realizing that something in his smile had changed. No need for security, no need for a fancy lifestyle, no need to be conspicuous. Except here's the truth, this guy has a couple $100 million net worth. And at the height of his career, he left $50 million behind. Not because he must, but because he wants to. He is one of the most significant comedians of all time, a genius at the very top of his fame. Dave Chappelle. But it isn't only that Hollywood respects him for his talent, it's that he's not part of Hollywood. The tale of a guy who was prepared to defy all Hollywood conventions to come back like a normal guy. Chapter 2. God gave him wealth to gamble with. In order to grasp the mystery of Dave Chappelle, one must examine the massive amount of money that he's been willing to risk. A formidable actor, writer, and producer, Dave is currently considered one of the top 10 richest stand-up comedians in the world, with an estimated net worth of $100 million. At the height of his touring, Dave was already making $30 million to $40 million a year off of ticket sales alone. His 2022 to 2023 World Tour, featuring the first time ever being sold out at either the Hollywood Bowl or Madison Square Garden, was instant success and brought tens of millions more to his wallet. This is such a considerable amount of money that it is really interesting in his lifestyle and why Dave Chappelle would choose to live like a regular person when he has all this money. To answer that question, we need to follow his path in time before the streaming giants ruled the earth. Chapter 3. The Rise of a Legend. Chappelle has been grinding professionally since he was a teenager. His first gig was at 20 years old in the film Robin Hood, Men in Tights. He co-wrote the stoner cult classic Half-Baked. And finally, he rocked the cultural plates in 2003 with the release of Chappelle's Show. The sketch comedy series was truly a juggernaut, with his sketches going viral all over the country, even before the term viral was a digital term. That's how some of his contemporaries have described it. Chappelle's Show was the #1 comedy in the country. It was the greatest sketch show. I think it was the greatest sketch show of all time. But the sketch series quickly transformed into a money-printing machine when the first 2 seasons burst onto the cultural scene. It was a goldmine to Comedy Central, and with such dollars being spilling out of every corner, they were happy to hit a certain number of dollar signs on the table and throw a historic $50 million at it for a 3rd and 4th season. This was a foregone conclusion to the public and industry executives. Chapter 4. The $50 million Walkout. As everyone knows, there are no idiots who would refuse boons of a different magnitude. As the world awaited him to turn a victory lap, Chappelle made a decision that would change the course of his life and shape his humble life. The comedian made his name on television in 2005, when he was at the top of the game and just walked away from the piles of money saying no. He didn't inform the network, his manager, or even his wife. He simply walked off set and sneaked on a plane to South Africa. His abrupt departure left a smudged trail of confusion in its wake. The other actors and cast members were completely taken aback. It is a sentiment echoed by all the people that were left standing on set. I don't even understand how anybody can say 50 million is not enough. I didn't understand that. And then he disappeared. With no explanation, the media went a little crazy, wanting to go after the same superstar they had toiled so hard to promote for the past few years. He was soon nicknamed Crazy Dave by the New York Post, and rumors quickly circulated about the comedian being admitted to a mental health institution in South Africa due to his condition by Entertainment Weekly. The industry and media have exploited his departure, trying to spin a principled response to a toxic system as a mental breakdown. Chapter 5. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy. But Chappelle is a particular stickler when it comes to dismissing the story. The last word you'd use to address someone was crazy, he clarified. It's dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. These people aren't crazy, they're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick, but Dave didn't break down. He was waking up. Later, when Chappelle was interviewed on Oprah Winfrey, he discussed how much it was a sudden getaway. I didn't tell my wife. I said, I don't tell her till I'm gone, I'm not telling her. I gave my brother a list to call people and I left. He did not run from the group without speaking to those who were closest to him. This was a strategic attempt to survive. He was aware of the enormous financial risks involved, and anyone, even sincere family, could persuade him to remain. He says, "If I would just say, I'm doing something like this, I would be getting too much going on. Every day I was on the show, I felt awful," he admitted. "I felt like I am some kind of prostitute or something. If I feel so bad, why I am still coming here? I'm leaving for Africa." Chapter 6. The Traps of Hollywood for Black Entertainers. In order to understand Chappelle's decision to live a rather dull life in rural Normal, Ohio, despite being incredibly rich, you have to examine the history of Hollywood's traps for black entertainers. The industry has given huge sums of money to empower black creatives to make huge money for the industry by turning them into marketable, safe images, not giving them their true voice. Chappelle pondered, what is going on in Hollywood that a guy that tough would be down on the street holding a gun yelling, "They're trying to kill me"? What's going on? Why does Dave Chappelle want to go to Africa? How could Mariah Carey be making $100 million and stripping off clothes on TRL? You can't get a weak person here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. What's going on in Hollywood? Nobody knows. Chappelle saw the cautionary tales of his idols and peers in the road ahead. He witnessed the upscale route that Eddie Murphy took. But even when watching showbiz big guys such as Kevin Hart, who has to constantly fly private jets and wear multi-million-dollar watches to keep the brand alive, Dave knew that a success like that wasn't freedom. Chapter 7. The Retreat to Ohio. So Chappelle decided not to buy a 40,000 square foot mansion overlooking the Hollywood sign, and instead went back to his home in Yellow Springs, Ohio. In Ohio, Dave is able to be a normal man, a husband, a father, and a neighbor in quiet farmland and with fresh air. Chappelle has bought and sold considerable land in the Yellow Springs region, and has been actively acquiring land to shape his surroundings in the interests of his family. Instead of creating monuments to his own self, he spends millions keeping his beloved town from being changed into a profit machine by a large corporation, buying up land in the community. He has also made a name for himself in 2019 when he stepped in to save a local restaurant from closing. He spoke passionately in 2020 to the Yellow Springs City Council. "I'm not kidding," he said to the council members. "You look like clowns. I will scrub it all before I'll bring anything to the table." The muted existence allows Dave to enjoy a quiet life and declare a rebellious message to the entertainment business. He shows that there is more to be gained by wealth than by luxury, that it is autonomy, not luxury, to which wealth leads. This decision has had a significant impact on them, as observed. If you're a guy that's happy, I would say Chappelle's probably the most successful guy that is happy in an industry that's got some really miserable rich people. Chapter 8. The Decade-Long Ghost and the Netflix Comeback. Don't let his down-to-earth, farmy look deceive you. One of the biggest comedians of all time has been haunting Hollywood for a full 10 years. But this wasn't the end of his story. It was the scene of the biggest mic drop in the history of entertainment. As one critic put it, he's someone who gave up everything for what was important to him, came back, and then beat the game anyway. It was not a surrender that 10 years of vanishing went. This was a fantastic lesson in realignment. When Dave finally decided that he needed to grace our screens again, this time, he wasn't asking for a place at the table. He owned the table. Why? The man had already shot down a $50 million check and walked away. He held all 200 pounds of leverage. It paved the way for other comedians like Monique, who were to refuse a $500,000 offer from Netflix and go public with a boycott, believing she deserves the same respect and compensation as Chappelle. Chapter 9. The Netflix Deal That Broke the Mold. Then in 2016, Netflix made a bombshell announcement. A whopping $60 million for 3 comedy specials was tossed at Dave. Let's do some numbers on that. That's a fairly nice sum of money for an hour of conversation, or $20 million per hour of conversation. That's about $330,000 a minute. For every minute he was on stage chain smoking and delivering punchlines. His total Netflix bankroll had ballooned past $80 million. Celebrity net worth estimates it to be $100 million by 2026, with additional specials added to the list as he continued to make films year after year, starting with 2023's The Dreamer. However, Netflix wasn't being fair to Dave. They were desperate. Netflix was in a deep trench of the streaming wars and required a big gun, a raw and unfiltered voice that could cut through the digital chatter. Dave was a unicorn value that just could not be reproduced. He delivered his $100 million bag by selling the uncomfortable truth, exploding racism, police brutality, and media hypocrisy, and doing it all while poking fun at the audience. It's not just content these days. A new Chappelle special. It's a cultural revolution with heated discussion, heated backlash, and eye-gouging entertainment levels. Take a look at The Age of Spin, Sticks and Stones, and The Closer. For weeks they were on the charts, ruling them with an iron fist. Chapter 10. The Irreplaceable Icon. Comedian Roy Wood Jr. disclosed the key to his invincibility in his streaming controversy discussion. Dave Chappelle will always have a home at Netflix, thanks to the things that he chooses to joke about. He forged himself into an utterly irreplaceable one-of-one icon by drawing a line in the sand, not giving in to any demands. His worth was further emphasized in April 2026 when comedian Monique, who refused a $500,000 contract with Netflix to host a comedy special, publicly alluded to Chappelle's deals as equality and fair pay for comedians. Chapter 11. What he bought for $50 million. The same old lie is fed to us from society again and again. When Dave strolled away, he wasn't crazy. He was a warrior, fiercely protecting his soul. But that's not what the ultimate power is. Dave Chappelle proved it. It is an absolute, unalterable right to turn down. Real riches lie in being able to stand on one's own merits in front of no one alive. The dollar sign doesn't get the steering wheel, but Dave makes its money work. He is a resident of Yellow Springs Estate. He's been spotted at a Dayton Dragons minor league baseball game. He's a frequent flyer at neighborhood venues such as the Wynn's Cafe. So, take a gut check with you. Would you have the resolve to refuse a $50 million suit that came sliding down the table and was saying, "Take it, but from now on, you're to do things my way"? He wouldn't just be the most paid puppet in another man's game. He traded the hills of Hollywood, some creative control, and a $50 million salary for a $100 million empire that he built on his own terms. He didn't win the game, he won the world. He altered the regulations. If you liked this video about an amazing story of Dave Chappelle, you should like and subscribe for more. Tell us in the comments, would you have turned down $50 million? Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.